So this is the second part of a podcast on Hinduism versus Hindutva. Is there really some big difference between these two things? And one idea put forward by Dr. Shashi Tharoor in books which are selling well, apparently Tharoor's books have helped David Davidar, who I think was under a bit of a cloud because of Me Too or something of that sort. So this is a publishing phenomenon. This is something which is helping Indian publishing. There's a market for it. It's not simply vanity on the part of Tharoor. So it does seem to be a meme, which is Hinduism versus Hindutva, and the idea is that Hinduism is. Let us look at that idea, Tharoor's idea of Hinduism. Basically, Tharoor is saying that Hinduism is completely unique. It is different from every other religion in the world. And this is, but how could that be? And the answer is it must be because those of us like me or like Tharoor is an Iyer, I'm an Iyer from South India. And we do believe that we are rather unique because let me be frank. I think my mummy and my daddy were the most special mummy and daddy, and my granny and my, you know, yeah. So of course, and he's an Iyer, and he really very beautifully he has expressed his love for his father, saying his father would come with his from the bath with his hair still wet, and he would pray. And I didn't see this with my father. Firstly, because like me, my father didn't have a lot of hair. He was balding. He didn't have wet hair. He would have wet scalp. But the other thing is that he would get up at bloody 4 o'clock in the morning. when we are all sound asleep, and he would incorporate his ablutions and his prayers, and he'd also do the sit-ups, betak, which I tried to do. I remember when I was 5 years old, I saw my dad had come back from Sikkim, and this is a time of Nathula, uh, you know, Chinese aggression, which was given a damn good slap. It was a nationalistic time, but it was also, for me, because I'd come from Sikkim and I was speaking Hindi or Army Hindustani with a bit of probably Nepali and Bhutia and pata nahi kya kya. And I was talked loudly, and this is a time when there were language riots in Tamil Nadu with Tamil. And some elderly gentleman, he could say that my mother, Iyer, Tamil lady, with a elder daughter, with a daughter and her, 3-year-old son. They were, just by looking at us, you can see we're Tamil, 100% Tamil, but they were Brahmins. And there was also the belief, and he was a Brahmin, and he was saying, he had erased his caste mark, or, because there was fear in the Brahmin community that DMK would attack us and kill us, as the Germans had killed the Jews, because they were saying, oh, Hinduism is bad, and Brahmins are very, very bad and must be killed. But it was all nonsense. It was completely false. And later on, you had Anna DMK was led by Jayalalitha, who was a very fair-skinned Brahmin. So when Kamala Harris came to returned to visit Tamil Nadu, she could see a lady of her own caste, even more fair-skinned. She's rather fair-skinned, by the way. Kamala Harris and her, either, you know, the fair-skinned element is inherited from her Jamaican father, which is possible. But, they're rather fair-skinned. Let me be honest with you. Because normally I've seen Ayers who have ladies who have married genuine Africans, and they would be my color or darker. They won't be lighter, and they won't have such Caucasian features, because we are a black race, of course. We come from Somalia, through Somalia, Horn of Africa, we migrated and we came down. And, probably there is some Malay component because Malays were great mariners, and there would be, some other component here and there. But we're dark. She lives in California. Kamala, in England, people won't be that dark because when do you see the sun? You don't see the sun that often. Anyway, this crude talk of color really has nothing to do with Hinduism versus Hindutva, or maybe it does, because you see, people like Rahul Gandhi, but also Shashi Tharoor, they are rather different in their looks, in their physique, and certainly in the way they speak, from the common run. I'm quite tall, I'm 6'1", I weigh 90 kilograms, but the truth is that when I went to Bihar, I went to some small place, actually it was Rajgir, it's not that small, but there is a Suraj Kund bathing pool, it's like a hot spa. And, without my glasses, because you take off your glasses, you go in there in your underwear. And I suddenly became aware, I can speak Hindi, but the fact is, my Hindi is a little bit Urdu, at least it was then. And the other thing is, I had a beard, Muslim beard, and I was not wearing janeo. And I suddenly became aware of this because in the, relaxing in the hot water of the spa, I could see that the people around me, that they had Caucasian features. And they were lighter skinned, from the neck down. From the neck down, it would be like, you could, And they were all wearing janeo, most of them were wearing janeo. That means sacred thread. The other thing is that, you see, I've always been, I have been to temples and so on, but always with mummy, daddy, granny, somebody, and they'll give the answers for me. Because, the priest, they ask you, what is your gotra, and God knows. And I got zero interest in all these things because I like going to temple because then you do a full length prostration, and it's nice. I like it. And actually, I'm very British. I like queues. I like queuing up for things. And I'm a sort of a rather a simple-minded person, and anyway, I was a little bit frightened because, you see, there's actually a priest in this place in Rajgir, in the Suraj Kund, that when you're supposed to go and, and then the other thing is money. I never know how much money to give, and I don't want to be cheated. And but, they're pushing me, oh, you're from I said, yeah, who are you? Yeah, I'm from Tamil Nadu. Oh, yeah, then you must Yeah, they did, I mean, I know the time Bharadwaj Gotra, that I remember. Take care, all right. And, but you see, they want to establish whether any ancestor of mine had come to that particular shrine. So they're asking me questions when I came out. And I really lost my temper. Hey, you bastards, you're trying to take money from me. Ah, well, fuck off. Because don't forget, I do come from Delhi. And during the emergency, I was at St. Columba's in Delhi. And Youth Congress type, Priyanka Gandhi type, Maneka Gandhi type rhetoric in broken Hindi, it comes easily to my lips. Because my father was a government officer. Then forcible sterilization, we will do it. But one Arya Samaji guy, he's actually the son of the Purohit. आप आर्य समाजी हैं? I said, no, I'm from South India. Yeah. And then, he'd been to the South. He knew about our fetish for queuing up and getting tickets and, all this. It was basically no problem. And now, that's really when I became introduced to the notion of Hindutva and the notion of in what role, but it was not RSS, because RSS had very small presence in Bihar at the time. Shiv Sena was getting some thing, but it's going back to Arya Samaj and the local Bhumihar movements, which are contemporary, And actually, you could say that Bhumihars of Bihar, that they were, because, they had established their own fighting organizations. Kashi Naresh, king of Benares, that's his background. Raj Narayan, for example, is a cousin of Kashi Naresh. So it's a Bhumihar thing, but it's, you can't say Bhumihar are really different from this caste or that caste. And I mean, in Bihar, I'll be frank with you that I identified not with Bhumihar because they're landowning. I'm not landowning. Iyears are not landowning. We're extremely simple people. And, I could identify much more with the pure Purohit type. Though it's a shock because they look white. And, after all, we are the country of Krishna. We believe that Krishna and Rama, both black-skinned, should be predominant. Maybe it's because I was in Kenya and, I saw the beauty of black people. So I assume that all society should be people who look like Obama and Michelle. Oh my God, when Michelle danced, when she came to India, people just forgot about Obama. Yeah, get out, you stupid talker, Michelle. She knows how to dance. She dances with the kids. Proper. And he's a bloody thin bastard. I think he used to smoke. That's why he used to... Michelle. She could, she knew how to dance. And you see, this is the real Hindutva. Because unlike Hinduism, which is linked to all this bloody worthless shit about Aryans and this color and this nose and these lips and all the bloody shit, worthless nonsense. Hinduism, even you could say Christianity, even you could say Islam, they have become complicit in racialist crimes, in gender discriminatory crimes, in stupidity against the poor, in harming the poor, but also harming, those who are trying to come up and to lift up other people. And then you have these disgusting cover-ups. I love Catholicism, and I have seen really good Catholic missionaries as well as, um, but they covered up. They covered up the pedophilia. In Ireland, I love Ireland. And, look at what's happening. A 11-year-old girl who has been raped. And, of course, and she has the baby. And you cannot ask for a more perfect image of the Madonna of our age, an innocent child, raped, who gives birth to the baby. This is the Madonna. This is the Madonna and child. We should be... What happens? She was... Even, she admitted... She knew she can't keep the baby. Okay, fair enough, because there will be richer people. They will be sold. They were sold to America, to here and to there. The baby was sold. But during the pregnancy, she did something. And the nuns throw it away. Fuck off, you poor whore. You whore. She's raped. 11 years old. How you can be a whore? If it can happen in Ireland, within Catholic Church, and Irish and Catholics, up till now, I have not met anybody bad. But it is they themselves who are publicizing this. So fair enough. So Catholicism could be really warped. The Irish woman who had been... Irish women, let me tell you, it's not possible that they could do such horrible thing. But this combination, it was a toxic combination. But let's also admit that I received a very good education because of that Irish Catholicism. I went to St. Columba's School in Delhi. Fantastic school. Very, very grateful. Why? I had a great time. It was the only place where I didn't have any anxiety about, because I'm shit at passing exams, and I like English literature. That's why I'm a writer. And it was only there that I received some encouragement, and you just felt happy. But I would say St. Columba's in Delhi was the essence of Catholicism, of Irish Catholicism. It was run by the Irish Christian Brothers. It was the essence of the Irish Christian Brothers, a group which had been set up by a businessman in the early, I think, 19th century. And he had one daughter, and he said to her, look, I can give you all my money, or she said, no, I'll take a small dowry, I'll take a small, she was fine with it. And you see, because at the time, especially in the 18th century, the Catholics of Ireland, they were just being misused, it was like a genocide. First, epistemic genocide denied them schools. So, what was it called? Like bush schools, hedge schools. There's a hedge. Some guys hiding behind it, teaching a little, but he was not allowed to do so. And in America also, there were some states in the southern part of America where slaves, it was a law saying you can't teach a slave to read and write. But the genie was out of the bottle. Anyway, so these are genuine things. These are absolutely genuine things. And in India, you have absolutely genuine grievance from many, many groups within India. Firstly, of course, women. And everybody has a mum. And her, you know, so, but without question, these things existed. But the obviously the culpability is greatly reduced because of foreign conquest, foreign domination, foreign rule. And Hindutva was basically the idea that the essence of Hinduism is not that Hindus are a conquered people, a slave people. It is not that, you see, the essence of the religion does not say that if you have a penis, you're superior. Because a penis is an accident, it is not an essence. It's like in Jainism. They put it very bluntly in the, Tattva. They have, in Jainism, they have developed the full philosophy of essences. Tattva, what does it mean? What is dhavya? What is substance? And of course, it's very similar in, you can see that in Purva Mimamsa. Now, you could say that Vedanta of some types, it tends to elide, or it's gone too up in the air. But there is a structural causal model. I would say that it is rather like the fermion causal models. Because you see, the difference between a fermion and a boson is that a fermion is subject to Pauli exclusion principle. Right? So, the concept of Dirac's C, Paul Dirac, the Dirac's C, where you have, negative time evolution, these sort of ideas, which are things which, if you start to actually, if you are an actual Hindu, if Tarur, who's a bright guy, if he actually knew anything about his own Hinduism, he's a Nair. Very, very smart guy. Come on. I'm a Nair, but I'm like stupid Nair. And my main complaint is against Iyengars, because they keep raising the Iyengars by their extremely bad behavior. They are showing Tambrams as educationally forward, whereas I am the proof that we are not just educationally backward, but fucking retarded, and we should get reservations and quotas on that basis. This is, people ask me, Vivek, why you write like this? The answer is, I am a campaigner. Anyway, Hinduism must never say that it is different from every other religion. It must say, yeah, we're a religion like other religions. And it must deal with other religions on a basis of reciprocity. And according to, as game theory says, the tit-for-tat strategy is eusocial. It's good for society. Because if this strategy is not applied, then nutters within one religion, they create a problem. And because the other side is not responding, then this side, it gets harmed. So, going back to the story about the Nazis and, the evils of nationalism, if France had had a proper offensive doctrine, then when Germany tries to fuck with it, the Germans start suffering. And suddenly Hitler doesn't look so good, Kaiser doesn't look so good. They're dumped. That's it's simple. Bully comes to punch you, you kick him in the shins, or you inflict maximum. He's not going to punch you again. He'll find somebody else to punch. This is the story. This is it. It's that when you try to say that my religion is superior, it's unique, it alone is, then you're saying that it is like God. And, if you punch God, it doesn't matter because God. But imagine a small baby. And there was a time when a small baby used to come and punch me. It didn't hurt me. But my wife said, look, you shouldn't encourage this type of behavior because he would punch others. As a matter of fact, he didn't. He knew it was me and, it was something we did. And actually, he did hurt me. And I'd cry. And then, because, he's hitting me. He would go on my soul. And he found the solar plexus. And after he didn't do it. He wanted to play. And, that's okay. Kids play with each other. Kids also play with daddies. And, but according to Hindu marriage ceremony, apparently I don't know, I haven't been through the Hindu marriage ceremony, but the blessing is on the wife. May you have 10 sons and your husband be the 11th. That's actually quite good. The notion is that the kids come first, and after you've had the 10 sons, then you can look after the fucking 11th. But by then, your sons would be 12 years old, 14 years old. Don't worry about it. So, see, Hinduism and Hindutva, they are not claims of superiority. They are saying that the essence of Hinduism is equality. But what is the essence of Christianity? What is the essence of Islam? We actually know the answer to that in India. Because we find that along with Swami Vivekananda, we have a Catholic, he started off as a Protestant, he was a Bengali, his uncle was Protestant, Bengali, and this is, what is his name? Brahma Bandhu, because he's trying to translate Theophilus. So Brahma Bandhu, he converted, he became a Catholic monk. And if you could look him up on Wikipedia, but you see, he was a nationalist. And so basically his commitment was to nationalism rather than to Catholicism. But this is the Christian sannyasi tradition, and people like Tharoor would know this very well. He quotes Raimondo Panikkar. Panikkar's father was a freedom fighter who fled to Spain, got married there, and so really there is a the problem when you say that there is a difference between Hinduism and Hindutva, between the religion as practiced by elite people and the essence of the religion. Yes, there is a conflict. The conflict is that if you have the elite version, you say that because of my birth, because of my education, because of all this accumulated privilege, I don't want to be associated with the essence of the religion, wherein these distinctions don't even exist. There is no PhD from Georgetown in any religion, including the Jesuit. It was founded by, Georgetown was actually founded by a person who under the one drop rule was black. He was a Jesuit priest. Under the one drop rule, he would be black. But that's not how he was seen because of the, it was an exception to the rule. Thoreau doesn't understand what he got from Georgetown. He doesn't understand what he's supposed to do in the UN. And, what a worthless gobshite he'd have been as Secretary General. And what a worthless piece of shit he was as a cabinet minister. He's worthless. And what's he doing now? He married a beautiful lady, Sunanda Pushkar. And Sunanda Pushkar's family, her father, I think he's an army officer. But he had to flee his ancestral Kashmir valley, living in Jammu. And these guys must have thought, now our daughter has married Shashi Tharoor from South India, a Nair, strong, very strong people, great martial tradition, member of the Indian National Congress. He was a minister in the Indian National Congress regime. They must have thought, now we're safe. Our daughter is safe. But their daughter wasn't safe. She died. Yes, she died in a 5-star hotel, but because apparently they're fixing up the house, and so she died. And Tharoor is on bail, and maybe all that sweat equity and so on, maybe. But you need Hindutva, because otherwise, when there is a marriage between a Nair and a Kaul from Kashmir, a Nair from South India, from Kerala, and a Kaul from Kashmir, where there is such a marriage, there has to be some essence of Hinduism which can be common to both. And what must that essence be? It must be that of mutual care, responsibility, and defense. You see, Sunanda Pushkar says in a tweet, I am being made scapegoat for the sins of that man. You can't have this. In a marriage relationship, you can't have a scapegoat. Nor in a nation can one part of the nation sacrifice another part of the nation for its own profit and pleasure. So this is the idea of Hindutva. I don't say that I exemplify it. I actually am the opposite. But if I were, and I do know people who exemplify Hindutva, I met them. I know them. I don't like them for 3 reasons. Firstly, when I was young, I didn't like them because they would privilege the vernacular language and the Hindi language, whereas my skill is in speaking English. I cannot speak any other language, and even my English isn't that good. So, English. The second thing was that I remember, I like RSS. There's a guy there, I don't mind doing some exercises to increase my biceps and all that. But the problem was that to be given orders by a what I considered low class person. My fear was this, that other people from my community would look down on me because I'm interdining, I'm taking orders from Mochi, or Jatav and so on. It would spoil my image. This was my concern. But it did not even occur to me that in London I would gladly be working, cleaning toilets, doing any type of work because I'd get paid. My objection was to doing this on a voluntary basis. Also, it was fucking, the emergency. I didn't want to get dragged off to bloody jail and get beaten. But, see, this type of negative reinforcement, and these beliefs were there. And I've seen RSS in Kerala, they don't insist that people learn Hindi. They don't. So, the language issue, because as a South Indian, I don't want people to impose Hindi on me. Even though I can now no longer speak Tamil. Because all Tamil people, the way we speak is so syncopated, it's so terse, and it's so, it's whereas Urdu, you have to speak Urdu. For example, when I went to Paris, the only way that I was able to get around and buy everything cheap and have a good time was because I can speak that Urduized Hindi. In Paris, it was useful. I'm not joking. French is useless. If you want to do well, and I did extremely well. I had a fantastic time. Spent very little money, and bought everything that I wanted, and got back. It's because, bottom line is, Urdu, Hindi, these open vistas, and where our people are already there. And our people includes Afghans. Afghanis now speak better bloody Hindi than we do. Because Pakistan fucking screwed up that country. It's mad. Anyway. Hinduism versus Hindutva. Always go for the essence of the religion. Never go for the outward appearance of the religion. Why? Because you may be rich now, but you could be poor. You are young now, but you will be old if you live. And it's that sort of thing. I am now a very beautiful Beyonce impersonator. But within a few years' time, I will have become more beautiful than Kamala Harris. Yes, I'm going to be Kamala Harris. Why should I be Beyonce impersonator? I can be Kamala Harris impersonator. So, what I'm saying is that change is continual, but it is only the essences which matter. It's the essence of Hinduism. It's Hindutva which matters. It's not Hinduism. Fuck Hinduism. It's not the external appearance of Christianity which matters. It is Lord Jesus Christ. The charisma, the essence of Christianity which matters. It is not outward appearance of Islam. It is the essence of Islam which matters. And those who can find it, they transform the world. But even this comes down to communism. Communism, I studied it a lot. In fact, I've continued to study it, and though I'm not a great mathematician, I can see that Kantorovich and they had made advances, but the essence of communism, it's not there in communism. It's everywhere. It's a perfume. In in Urdu or in any rang or boo. Rang means color. Boo means perfume. Rang badalta hai. Colors change. You know, but the perfume does not change. The perfume is the essence. So hold on to the perfume. And in Hinduism or in Buddhism, there is belief in Antara Bhava. This is like Barzakh in Sufism. But in, or Bardo in Tibetan, the Bardo, the limbo, this concept of limbo. But it's also linked to the concept of methexi in Greek. Methexu, the boundary condition. But in Hinduism, you see, Antara Bhava, in Shankaracharya and so on, they mention this. What does it actually mean? It means, it's the place where you die, your soul transmigrates. It's there coming into the womb. And at that point, it is the Gandharvas who are associated with smell. Gandharva. They are the efficient cause of a birth and determining karma, So this is, boo. It is the smell. In Urdu we say boo. In, Gandhi, the reason that the name Gandhi, it's, like perfume. And it's extended to vegetation. Gandhi means like a greengrocer, or it can also mean a perfumer. That's why Gandhi is a good name. It has that extra power. I'm saying for us Hindus or for people from India. So Antara Bhava, Barzakh, this is regulated by essence, by smell. So smell it out. What Shashi Tharoor has done is he has farted in your face. He is basically saying, Varun Gandhi very bad, Maneka Gandhi very bad, Sonia Gandhi very good, Rahul Gandhi, मैं उनका भक्त हूँ. But they're cousins. And the fact is there used to be 2 national parties. Now there's only 1 national party. Because the other national party is not a national party. It is a Rahul Bhakt. It is a slavish adoration of a Roy Fanion, of a do-nothing king who has no vichardhara. He says, I have vichardhara. What vichardhara? He doesn't have any ideology. Why doesn't he talk to his cousin, Varun Gandhi? If he has an ideology, then they can debate it together. But no, that can't be done because his father was Prime Minister, the other one's father was not Prime Minister because he died. He died young. So this is really Hinduism versus Hindutva. There is no such debate. It is political and it is elitist. And it is the sort of shit that only Professor Arvind Sharma could write nonsense about. I've spoken far too long. Thank you for your indulgence.